So, on to our next topic, gentlemen. We have the choice to talk about either Will and Jada or Nick Cannon. Which way y'all want to go?
Damn, these are both good. We can
Doesn't matter.
talk. Yeah, we can talk Nick Cannon. Actually, we can talk Nick Cannon.
Okay. For those who have not been noticing, Nick Cannon, um, Nick Cannon has been fired from Viacom, especially for shows like because he ran Teen Nick and he obviously have a show on Wild and Out. The reason why he was fired because they were saying quotes anti-Semitic and racist comments about the Jews. Um, gentlemen, at the day before he didn't apologize. Now it comes to find out that he did. He apologized now. Gentlemen, how do you feel about this whole thing happening the way it did?
I'm gonna start off because I've been going back and forth with fucking Bud Light Twitter over whether what he said was racist or not. And see, the first thing I watched the entire episode. That entire episode was Professor Griff, and both of them was just dropping gems the entire episode. It was actually a really good episode. So it pained me to see that he removed the episode because despite that like claim, it was a really good episode, and they got into a lot of stuff. They even got into why Professor Griff, like when he was in a part of Public Enemy, they got into why their relationship kind of soured because basically Professor Griff was too unapologetic and it was looking bad for their brand. So that's why he kind of had to like take a step back and take one for the team in terms of the group. But he said despite that they still remain like close and tight and stuff like that. So I thought that was always interesting. But to get on to what Nick Cannon specifically said, even see like okay, so I'm the type of person where like if you are part of a marginalized community or if you're like part of a community, you get to like set the guidelines to whether what offends you or not. And if what Nick Cannon is said is anti-Semitic, then fine, whatever. If that's how you feel, we can't really tell Jewish people what anti-Semitism is and shit like that. Fine, cool. But here's my thing, right? Nick Cannon was saying that the behavior of the European colonizers that stole Africans from their land and spread them all across the earth, that killed and mated with Native American tribes all over the earth, including the Caribbean and North America. You know what I'm saying? They also did the same to Polynesian groups such as the Hawaiians and shit. That type of like behavior like is animalistic in nature because what other group has a history of going to other continents and just completely destroying the inhabitants of that place? You feel me? And that's the point he was trying to make. But he brought it back. But the thing that got Nick Cannon killed was that he mentioned Farrakhan. And as you know, America hates Farrakhan, especially the Jewish people. They really don't like Farrakhan because they say, once again, he's anti-Semitic. But when you look at the definition of a Semite, these were people that inhabited North Africa, Northeastern Africa, the Horn of Africa, parts of the Middle East and parts of Asia. These were what were known as the Semitic people. So technically, it would be counterproductive for black people to be anti-Semitic because they would be anti themselves. And a lot of people don't realize that because the notion of being Jewish is, it comes with a lot of stuff. For one, these are people that were oppressed. These were people that went through the Holocaust and stuff like that. But what's so funny is when we want to talk about our Holocaust, when we want to talk about the African Holocaust, when we want to talk about what happened to the fucking Congolese when King Leopold was there, when we want to talk about the chattel slavery that black Americans were subject to in the 17 and 1800s, when we want to talk about how thousands of indigenous people were wiped out of the face of the earth because these people were so unclean to the point where they were catching diseases from these colonizers. Then all of a sudden, everybody wants to make it seem like, oh, it happened so long ago. Oh, everything is fine now. We have equality. But Nick Cannon is talking about the savagery of the conquest of Europeans that roamed throughout the face of the earth. Millions of people have been affected. Millions of people died. Entire tribes and peoples have been almost completely exterminated, and they want to piece out that information and then tell us this is anti-Semitic. It boggles my mind. And also to Nick Cannon's to defend Nick Cannon, I do understand why he had to apologize, but I will also say that his apology didn't even really seem like it was him apologizing. It seemed very, like what's it called? It seemed very like someone
Sarcastic.
typed it in for no, not sarcastic. Like somebody typed it for him. You know what I'm saying? Like his PR team did the writing and said, "Well, I apologize for my statements," because Nick Cannon, he knew that he was gonna get in trouble when he was saying the shit he was saying. He prefaced that whole statement he made by saying, "I'm going to try to say this as carefully as possible." So he knew that he was going to ruffle feathers with that. But because he's cool with the Nation of Islam, and because he actually looks up to Minister Louis Farrakhan, he got in trouble because of his affiliation, or at least his admiration of Farrakhan. And that's what got him, fired from Viacom and stuff. And even so, we all know that Viacom is anti-black. We all know Viacom doesn't even really give a fuck about black people anyway. And also, shout out to Diddy for reaching out to try to give Nick Cannon a platform to host his stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. That's what a code is supposed to look like, where we have our own institutions, and when people get in trouble in the white-owned institutions, they can come back home and still make money. That's a code. So I'm just watching everything that's going on over here. I'm standing with Nick 100% because they love doing that shit. Whenever black people are speaking truth to power, all of a sudden this is racist, this is anti-Semitic. But when they're saying bullshit, when Ben Shapiro was disrespecting the Trayvon Martin when he died, he didn't get canceled for shit. When Tucker Carlson gets his wrangled ass on TV talking about the coronavirus this and black people that in Chicago this, nobody has anything to say about him being racist. Nick Cannon says some shit that's true and everybody loses their fucking mind. It make no goddamn sense.
Tony, you got anything to say?
Nah, I'm good, man. He kind of went more in detail of it, but
What about you, Dion?
well, a couple
Oh,
of
my
things.
bad. Go ahead, Tony.
A couple of things. White people been doing that stuff for years. They make a statement, something wrong. Somebody will kind of write a statement for them and put it into their own words to make it feel like they're apologizing. And they've been doing that stuff for so long. It's crazy. Only thing I think about it because it's more of them than more of us, and they care about them as far as their race compared to us because they're the ones with the money. That's the only way I see it.
Dion, what about you?
Um, yeah, Father basically covered everything. The only thing I really got to say about that is, I heard part of that, that interview or whatever, and Nick Cannon didn't really say anything negative about the Jews. So it's just like I feel like all this was just used as an excuse to attack him. I never heard him say anything directly negative about them. Like someone was just looking for an excuse to go at him.
Okay. I get well, because Father did cover. I guess I will say this. I do not like the fact that every time a black person mentions something that even regarding the Jews, it might not even be anti-Semitic, just something regarding the Jews. White people like LeBron, he said a lyric or something like that from I forgot. I think it was Rick Ross or something like that or Jay Z, and I remember the sports channels was trying to berate LeBron about it, but I was like, he didn't say nothing. I was thinking he didn't say nothing anti-Semitic, and
I think
Vada does have a
he
point.
with that thing with LeBron. I think it was a line from Story of OJ from Jay Z.
Oh yeah. Jay-Z got in trouble for that too.
Yeah,
Since when did Jay
and
Z
then
give a fuck?
the problem I have with the hot problem I have with it, and besides, I guess Hitler, um, and calling them the K word, we don't know what is anti-Semitic. At least with black people, when you say some racist stuff to black people, you understand because y'all, well, one, white people invented half of them, but you know what words are trigger words that black people will
Half,
know, huh?
half.
What are you trying to say?
I'm pretty sure any derogatory term for black people, white people did at least like 99.9% of that. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
okay, that's what. You can say yes, you can say that, but you know that if you hear it, you know that that is coming from a racist term or a racist thing. Now, the thing about I always say this with Jewish, I don't know what is anti-Semitic. I really don't. Sometimes we feel like, as black people, we probably done said something that's positive about the Jews because we always say the Jews have their own community, the Jews run Hollywood, and the Jews like own most of the stuff. And I've seen Jewish people get mad at that, and I was like, why are y'all getting mad at that? That's like, are you trying to like, unless y'all trying to like hide your money, or is that your way to tell us stop pocket watching? But at the same time, it's like most of these companies, you can tell like they're Jewish names. Or anytime when like people get a lawyer, they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get my Jewish lawyer" or some shit like that. It's just like it's like your name is on everything, especially on productions and companies and like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all that. Like people know this. I don't understand why people get mad at that. So if for at least I would say this with the Jewish community, you should tell people what is anti-Semitic, because I don't want people getting, because this is different from black people. At least with black people, you know, like some of the shit like y'all could say is racist. Some of the shit a lot of people don't say is just like, I didn't know that was racist at all. It's just like, that's probably how white people felt about Redskins. It's like most people don't even know that was racist until you tell people. But I don't know unless you tell me. It's like maybe you should tell people, and that's just my opinion. You should tell people what is anti-Semitic, so I know not to say these things. Because 9 times out of 10, black people is really not trying to insult nobody. We'll have a little joke here and there, but most of the times, like we're really trying not to insult anybody. And I feel like we don't know really much. And the Jewish people are a close culture. Like they stick to their own, and that to me that's okay. I just like, but when black people try to do that, like Father said, it seems like we always get ridiculed, or maybe it should be all lives matter, or why can't we get a? And then every time we do, like we got in the other races and other people be getting the big slices of cake and we be getting the crumbs. I don't like that factor and all that other stuff. As far as Nick Cannon goes, I really wish he didn't apologize. Sometimes, but this is why also like I followed the whole thing about celebrities not being civil rights leaders. We shouldn't be looking at them as civil rights leaders because, like I said, they can be bought. I understand, like, with Nick Cannon really holding on to Wild 'N Out because he done put a lot of people on. The show's been on for 15 years. He's put a lot of people on, and a lot of people have came out of that product. So he done put people on. But then again, you could do that again with Revolt and Diddy. So before even Diddy said that, I was like, I hope Diddy gives him a job at Revolt. That way, that's people looking after each other. And he did. I wish Nick Cannon would take it. But like I said, celebrities can be bought. Nick Cannon's net worth is like 30 million, and he's probably still getting millions off of the Masked Singer, which, by the way, they're still keeping him, thank goodness. And a lot of people, you know how a lot of people feel about Viacom. I feel like that's where shows goes to die. And tell you the truth, Wild 'N Out is probably the only thing that's kept people from watching that keeps people watching TV, because nobody watches BET no more except for the awards, and we barely watch that. No one watches MTV except for the awards and Wild 'N Out. Wild 'N Out is actually on VH1 now. Who watches VH1 for anything except for Love and Hip Hop, which I feel like it's like some of the worst television ever. And like, who I don't know, like what I guess white people watch country music television. No one really watches Nickelodeon like that. It's like